Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Christine Harrington and I'm really excited that I'll have this opportunity to work with you in our online course as we explore lifespan development. So I wanted to take this time to just go over kind of how the course is set up and the syllabus and what the expectations are. So basically all of the materials you'll need are going to be found in Campus Cruiser. So when you log in, this is the dashboard. This is what you should see. You should see a list of all of your courses. You can see these are my courses. Right on this front page, you'll see some announcements that I want you to read, so make sure you don't miss those. Once you click on them, they disappear. That's why they're not in all the sections. I've clicked on it a couple of times. So when you read it, it sometimes goes away, but you can always access it again if you want a reminder of what it was. So I'll show you how to do that in just a moment. So let's go ahead and go into the course. You click on Lifespan Development, and I'm just going to go ahead and switch the view over here to a student view. So I'm seeing it the way that you see it. So just give me a moment, and then we'll be on the same page. That way we'll have the same exact view. Okay, so when you log in, you should see, again, here's the announcements, and they may or may not show up if they're already read. But you can always get to them by just clicking on the announcements page, and then you'll have a opportunity to read all the announcements. So you can see even the one that I read is still there. You can go back to the home page again to get back onto the main page. There's a couple things I want to point your attention to here. Here's just the basic class information, so it has my office hours and things of that nature. Down here, I have the syllabus for you. It's still loading, but basically this section will load with the syllabus, so you can kind of just scroll through it pretty quickly. You can see that's kind of how you can access it. It's not the only way to access it. There's certainly other ways too, and I'll show you those. Let's go ahead and scroll back up here again a minute. You can also get the syllabus by clicking on the syllabus tab or by going into shared files. So either way, you're going to get to the same document. But just want to make sure you know how to get to that, because that's really important. I do encourage you to print it out. It is a long syllabus. If you haven't seen it yet, you'll figure that out pretty quickly. But the reason that it's long is really I wanted to provide you with all the information that you need in order to be successful. You'll also see over here, these are the class bookmarks. And these are the videos that you're going to be watching. So some of them are helpful videos, like how do I upload the photo so that your picture shows up in the message board? How do I search in the library databases? And then you're going to see that we're starting off with the chapter lectures. These are not as long as a traditional in-person class, so they are briefer than that, but they will provide you with some really helpful background on the topics. And then you'll see that there's some other videos that I want you to watch also. And you'll see some of them are TED Talks, and there's some others too. So basically anything that comes under it is a part of it. So these two videos here on epigenetics and economic inequality, you'll be watching related to the chapter 2 one. So just make sure you're watching those videos that are related. So you can see here's a list of all the different chapters and the videos that go along with it. So what I wanted to do next was to have a chance to go over the main area that we're going to be using, which is called the message board. So when you go into the message board, this is really the place where we kind of have class, so to speak, in our virtual environment. So this is where we'll be interacting with one another, we'll be asking questions of one another, and we'll be diving into the course content. So in addition to the lectures, this is one of the other primary learning tools. So you can see each message board, basically you click on it. If you're not familiar with these, it's pretty easy to get the hang of it. And the first one is really just one for you to exactly get the hang of it and for us to get to know each other a little bit. So what you'll see here is that I got us started by providing us with kind of a prompt. I want you to tell me a little bit about yourself. Everybody's sharing something. So I share a little bit about myself. All you need to do is hit this reply button and go ahead and type in your response and hit submit. Now I am going to give you a tip. For the bio, it's probably just fine to do it this way. But for the other message boards that we have, you're probably going to want to type it out first in a Word document. And the reason for that is that if you end up, your computer goes out or something, you don't lose, internet, goes out or something, you don't lose the content. And you'll also have a nice packet of information to study from as well. So what I usually do is type it out on a Word document, then copy and paste it into this box, and then hit submit. There will be some times where you'll be asked to attach like an article or something else. All you need to do is hit this add attachment button in order to do that, and then you'll be good to go. Now, the other thing you can do besides just reply is you can also hit quote. And when you do that, you'll basically see that the first box that comes up is, the entire response that I just gave or whoever just gave. But let's say you wanted to kind of zoom in on one part. So you could kind of delete this and get rid of that. And maybe say, I want to hear a little bit more about this. So you could get rid of the rest of it, emphasize the part that you want to emphasize. Then down here, you can ask a question like, wow, can you tell me a little bit more about it? That's interesting. Or as we get into the real conversations, you might challenge someone and say, well, this might be another way of looking at it. Have you thought of, and here's a research study or a citation that might kind of back up your thinking on it. And this is a great way for the conversations to evolve. So I do encourage you to use that quote feature. I'm going to cancel out because we don't want to do that right now. I'm just showing you for demonstration purposes. So that's a really important part of where you're going to want to go. The bookmarks get you to those videos that I told you about before. Remember, they were over on the right in the home page. They're also right here. And the announcements I told you about. The other place you're going to want to know about is shared files. So shared files is a place where you can find any content that I'm giving you that's not in the form of a website or video, but more of like a regular document. So the exam review sheets are here, some information about how to message board effectively. The PowerPoint slides are here. So I do encourage you to print those out actually before you listen to my narrated PowerPoint, because then you can take notes on them while you're listening to me give the online lecture. So these research articles are ones that you'll need either for the message board conversations or for a quiz. So if you're looking for articles, go to shared files and you should hopefully find what you're looking for. Under my assignments, most of the assignments, you'll see that the message board and things of that nature. So there is one specific project in addition to that. And what you'll basically do when it's time to submit that is you go ahead and click on the assignment, and you would just go ahead and hit submit your assignment. And then you have to find your file and attach it. So it's really pretty simple. You just kind of add your, file, and then you would hit submit. So very easy. The other thing I want to show you is quizzes, because there are lots of quizzes. There's chapter quizzes, there's some article quizzes, and this is also the way you'll be taking your exams online as well, your midterm and your final. So basically you can see I put all the quizzes. They're available for you to take at any time, but they have due dates. So you want to pay attention to the time that they're due so that you do it before that. If you want to go through and do 5 of them right away, you certainly can, but you just have to make sure that you finish them by the due date. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and click in this to show you how it works. You do have, I think, 3 attempts. You do have about 30 minutes to do it, and I am permitting you to use your notes. However, I strongly encourage you not to, especially on your first attempt. And the reason for that is that I don't want you to just kind of be going to try to look up the information. You're going to find that to be a very frustrating process, and it's not going to help you learn the content. So the idea here is behind the quizzes is that you have multiple attempts to really practice retrieving that content from your mind, not from the book. So if you get stuck, you can look in the book, but you're only supposed to really do that if you get stuck. You do have that 30-minute time limit, which isn't really going to allow you to look up every single question. So when you click Start Question, you'll see there's 15 questions here. So you're basically just going to answer whatever you want to answer. You hit Next. You can see you can navigate around, hit different questions over here. Once you get to the last question, then you hit the Finish button. It'll ask you, are you sure? You can say yes. And now you're going to immediately get your score. So I only got 1 out of the 15. I didn't answer them all, obviously. So you'll know exactly how you performed. If you get a perfect score, you obviously don't need to do it again. If you get anything less than a perfect score, then it's obviously a very good idea to take the quiz again. The other thing I want to show you over here is my grades, because under the grades is where you'll get to see how you're doing. And obviously, because I just did pretty poorly on that quiz, I'm not doing so well at the moment. But you'll be able to see all the grades that you have for all the different assignments. And this projected grade is kind of a guess as to how you're going to do based on how you're doing so far. At the end of the term, it'll become an accurate grade. So obviously, it'll mean more a little bit later. So you can kind of just keep track of your grades that way. Everything will be entered into Campus Cruiser. All right, so now let's go ahead and take a look at the syllabus so you know what's expected of you. So Basically, when you go there, you can just download the file or open it, whatever you're going to do here. All right, it's coming. Here it is. Okay, so here is the syllabus. As I said before, it's a long document. I don't expect you to, memorize all the different components of it, but it is important for you to know about what kind of information is in the syllabus. So here's my contact information. I know that you're taking an online class, but you are still more than welcome to come and visit me in person. Here are my office hours, and I really am very accommodating. So if these don't work for you and you want to meet at a different day or time, just let me know. We'll try to find a time that works for both of us. Or we can do a phone appointment if that's better. If you need to chat by phone or by email, we can also do that, of course. So just reach out if you have any questions. I'd rather you ask than not ask. You'll see that there is a table of contents here that provides you with kind of guidance about where you find what information. So the first information is, well, let me find out about the course. Well, this is the textbook. It is the 3rd edition. It is important that you get the most recent edition because otherwise you are going to be at a disadvantage. I'm using that edition for the quizzes and the exams, and that means that if you don't have the up-to-date edition, you may be missing some of the information. So it is pretty important. There is a My Virtual Life component to the class, and that is optional depending on whether or not you choose the assignment associated with that. So I'll show you that in just a moment. Here's some information about purchasing it. Now, here's what the course is all about. And that's really what you want to know. What are we doing together for the next 14, 15 weeks? Well, we're going to talk about all the different developmental theories and concepts as they relate all the way from prenatal development, through childhood, through adolescence, all the way through late adulthood. And then, of course, we'll also talk about death and dying. So here are the learning outcomes. You really want to become familiar with it because these are the things that you'll be able to do after successfully completing the course. And here's an overview of all the topics that you'll get to learn about throughout the semester. So hopefully that gets you kind of excited, lots of cool stuff. I get a lot of questions about online learning. Almost every semester I have students who haven't taken an online class and they're not really sure how it's set up. And it's really important to ask each professor because they are set up pretty differently. So I'm not requiring any in-person visits. You're going to be doing everything online. Of course, again, you can come and visit me. You can use any campus resources, but you don't have to visit our campus in order to complete the class. Everything will be in Campus Cruiser. There's no specific days or times that you have to log in as long as you meet all the deadlines. And then here's an overview of how do you learn, like how does this work exactly? So these are the things you'll be doing. Sometimes folks want to know, is it less or more work? It should really be the same amount of work. It's just a different format for it. So there's a lot of flexibility that students appreciate, but it is a much more independent learning journey. Of course, I'm with you, but you have to do some of it on your own as well. If you have questions, you can certainly email me. You can also use the question message board, which is really the best place to ask any general questions because chances are if you're wondering, someone else is probably wondering too. And your classmates can also answer your question. So maybe you're working on, a project and it's 2 in the morning. Well, I'm not going to be online at 2 in the morning. So somebody else might be, and they might say, oh, I saw this on page 12 in the syllabus, if that's where the information that you're looking for. So I certainly will jump in once I get up in the morning and make sure that, it was answered correctly. But it can be really helpful to ask your general questions there. Of course, if it's a personal one, then just go ahead and email me. Or you can use my journal, which looks just like a message board, but it's just between you and me. So that's more private. Here's all the important policy information that you'll need. I certainly know that you can go ahead and read this yourself. So I'm going to just make sure you're familiar with that content being there. And this is a little bit of an idea of how it works. So here's the stuff you do by yourself. Here's how we're learning together. And here's what you're going to do to show me that you've learned the content. There are lots and lots of resources on campus, so I just made kind of a brief list of the main resources. I want you to take advantage of anything that you think will be helpful to you, so feel free to take advantage of those. They're all free of charge to you as a student. And here are the assignments. This is what most students get really, interested in. What do I have to do? So clearly the message board conversations are a very big part of the course, and that's why they're a very big part of your final grade. You also have a project that you get to choose between 2 options. There are online quizzes. Each one you get to try 3 times, and only the best score counts. You will also have a midterm and a final exam. Those are online, but those are closed books. So that means I'm expecting you not to use any information, notes, books, other message boards, anything like that. And to help you do that, I will be making it a little bit tighter on the time frame. And this should actually say 2 hours. I'll have to fix that. The final will be 2 hours. The midterm will be 1. And there is an extra credit opportunity. Here's just a visual of the grade scheme so you can see how the different components fit. And, of course, what do you need in order to get the A, etc. So now we have the course outline. The message board is pretty much a two-pronged process. So by every Monday at 11, anytime there's a message board, I'm expecting you to provide an answer to the initial prompt. So whatever I asked you to do, I mean, in the case of the biography, that's really simple. Tell us a little bit about yourself. But in the case of the next one, resilience, you're going to have to go find a research article. You're going to have to talk about some of the key findings. So you have to do that by the first, deadline on Monday. And then between Monday and Thursday, you should be reading what your classmates have posted. And I want you to make 2 additional interactions with them. Now, what I mean by that is, not just say, oh, good point. That's not going to get you anywhere with, really earning credit for that. Instead, you need to do a couple of different things. So I'm going to show you, there's a message board rubric, what you need to do in just a moment. And the quizzes and exams are generally due on Sunday unless otherwise noted. So here's a calendar, and you can see what you should be doing. So we're going to start on chapter 1 right in the beginning of the semester. I want you to get your photo uploaded, the biography message board. We're packaging it all together for the first one because we start on a Tuesday instead of a Monday. So you should be posting and interacting with 2 people by Thursday at 11. And then if you scroll down, you'll see the quizzes, when they're due, the next message board, when that's due, when we're starting the next chapter, and so on and so forth. So you can see all of that outlined in this calendar view. So I have each month with all of the different assignment due dates. I'm going to scroll past that now. You should print that out and make sure you mark it on your personal calendar. All right, so now here's how you're getting graded. It gives you some more information about the assignment. So here are some great tips that you're going to want to engage in before you get involved in message boarding. You want to make sure that you read the textbook. You don't just jump into the conversation. You have to have some background knowledge on it. You want to make sure that you're using, professional writing style. It's not like Facebook or social media or something where you're writing it really informally. You should be using citations to make sure you're letting us know where you got your information from. So pretend it's like research paper and you're really proofreading your work, etc., before you submit it. Now, here's the part about feedback to your peers. The idea behind this is really to have a conversation and to more deeply engage with the content. So in order to do that, you should be adding to, so if someone says something about one theory, you might be able to contrast that to another theory. Or you might say, pose a challenging question, to someone about it. And here are some examples of questions that you might ask. So you can see there's a whole bunch of ideas to get you started. And as you ask those questions, you can't just ask. You obviously have to answer questions as well. I just want to point out to you that you do not have to only answer questions that are posed directly to you. I'll be posing questions to some of you that I'm expecting any of you to answer. And that goes for you too. So if student 1 poses a question to student 2, well, student 3 can jump in and give their answer to that question. So that's how you get engaged with the content and how you'll do well on the message boards. So it's important for you to know that I am reading all of your posts. Every post I will read, but I will not respond individually to each one, with the exception of probably the bio, because I like to kind of just have an initial interaction with you directly. But for the rest of them, I'm really responding to the class, but I'll be picking up on, maybe what a couple of different students say. So remember, even though I'm responding to one specific student, my words are really for the entire class. If you want to get an A, which is what I'm hoping you're aiming for, this is what you need to do. So just make sure you follow the rubric. And the same thing is true for, the other assignments here. It just provides you with details about what you're expected to do. So it gives you more information about the quizzes and the exam. Here's the extra credit opportunity. And now here's the project that I mentioned before that you have a choice. You can decide there are 2 different types of activities. Whether you want to complete this My Virtual Life program that's online, there's two pieces to it, raising a child and living your life, and then writing a paper. There's assignment details on page 16, so you can pop down to there to see that. Or whether you want to do a PowerPoint presentation where you're reviewing two research studies. So you can do either one. If you choose this one, you will have to have the online support that goes with the book. If you choose this one, obviously that wouldn't be required. So option 1, here are all the details about the PowerPoint and what you need to do. And here's the rubric for it. And option 2, here are all the details about the My Virtual Life paper and what you need to do. So hopefully, again, as it gets closer, if you have questions, I'm certainly happy to answer those. I just wanted to make sure you had an overview of the way that the class is set up. So I think we pretty much covered all of the key content that I wanted to cover. Just remember, if you have questions, all you need to do is go down to that message board. And as soon as you're in message board, you'll see the very first one is questions. Just go ahead and post that question. Or as I said, you can email me. So I look forward to working with you. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and we're going to really get a great chance to explore all the fascinating concepts and theories and research related to all the different stages of life. So I look forward to talking to you in the near future. Take care.